Buddy, I'm Gujio, and I'm bringing you guys this new video. This is the full story of what if I was the reincarnation of Balthazar from Stick World. If you wonder who's Balthazar, he's practically one of the first era magicians. The first era magician who was one of the most powerful ones in history of the Stick World. If you guys are confused on what I mean, it's because in one of the episodes of the Stick World, he dies, but he's able to be revived. But his other part of his soul will actually would have remained in the void. Where Balthazar will actually be wondering where he is, but he can actually see through his other self that his other self is alive and has all his memories, yet he's still in a void. Eventually, the creator of the Stick World is able to practically give him another chance, as he decides to give him a reincarnation into his own world, granting him the ability to practically choose who he wants to be reincarnated. Of course, his personality, his memories will be passed on to the next user, and he'll practically become him after his training. Balthazar, of course, would have agreed to those terms and wanted to teach a new generation of a magician. Since he's already able to actually realize how to teach magicians, Balthazar would have been most and ready to get training. Of course, after many years, Balthazar is able to find a disciple, that being me. Of course, I was still really young and don't know about any magic. Of course, Balthazar knew that, and eventually, after many years, after I grew up to being 18 years old, he eventually would enter my mind and eventually talked with me, asking me if I'm ready to train. Of course, I'll be quite surprised, but I'll accept. Eventually, Balthazar would train me for many years. He would teach me the basics of magic from the Stick World, almost like how to utilize it to its fullest extent. But unlike Balthazar, who has limits, due to the Stick World giving limitations to the stick figures, I do not have those limitations. My only limitation is my body. Eventually, of course, my body begins to change after Balthazar's training. I look more like a Dragon Ball character in my clothes as well. Of course, I'll most likely look at the same picture as you see as Gogeta, and I would decide to take this title and my name, since I want to be a new person. Eventually, after Balthazar trains me to become a lot stronger, I'll continue on with my own life. Of course, I'll use magic to sometimes do some of my chores or some things, but I'll not use it as much. Of course, I'll still continue to live my life and even train sometimes in the force to increase my magic power. Of course, by the time, my attack and defense would have increased to be at least 10, which is an incredibly massive high because in the Stick World episode, it's saying that only the Osus can be at that level, yet I'm already at that level. Eventually, Balthazar would have taught me the basics of multiple other unique abilities, and I actually have 2 unique abilities. I'm completely immune to any type of telekinesis, and my second ability is that I have infinite stamina, meaning that I can constantly use magic without getting tired or exhausted, which is an impressive ability. Balthazar eventually would have been able to give me his future sight, able to pass it on to me since he's only just a soul, so I'll naturally have this ability after he trains me. Eventually, after many years of training, I'll grow to be 23 years old, and eventually, after I was fully able to develop my powers, I'll eventually become almost like Balthazar. My hair will grow to be a gray color alongside my eyes and my eyebrows. I'll be much more powerful, faster, and stronger than I would have been before. Of course, I'm still pretty young, but my appearance will change to that. Eventually, Balthazar will tell me that I'm now ready, and I will thank him for teaching me, as Balthazar will completely fuse with me. I'll have all his memories and powers. Now, as I actually have mastered all his powers, I'll continue to train to increase my own strength. Of course, thanks to Balthazar being linked to the Stick World, I can actually go there and train myself. And since I actually realized that in the Stick World, 1 year in there is actually at least a day in my world. It's kind of like a time chamber, yet it's slightly different. Of course, I decided to enter it and I actually became a 2-dimensional being, yet I still look slightly like human, but I'm still pretty powerful. I'll actually have an attack of 15 and defense of 14, which is literally one of the highest of all the stick figures, even higher than some of the other stick figures, and almost close to the creator himself. Yes, you heard me, I'm almost as strong as the creator, but I'm still lagging behind him by a couple of points. Of course, I'll continue to train and increase my power. Eventually, I'll meet Balthazar's sisters, Eve. Of course, it will be pretty impressed by my power and growth. He actually wanted to experiment with me, but because I'm almost as strong as her, I'm most likely able to push her back. Of course, she'll be still impressed and actually want to see what I'm capable of. She will test me with multiple of her creations, which can absorb any type of magician, from legendary to rookie to beginner magicians and many others. But since I'm a lot stronger than any other magicians, and contain the soul and powers of the first era magician, I'm most likely able to deal with it pretty easily. Eve will be surprised, and which I will explain to her how Balthazar is my master, and I'm his reincarnation. Of course, I'm part Balthazar, yet I'm still myself. Evie will be impressed since she knows that her brother would not have chosen any random guy or even creature to be his reincarnation if he didn't saw potential in them. And as she can see, I have a lot of it in myself. She continues to train me, and eventually will be able to actually increase myself. Eventually, I will realize that I actually have no limitations due to me being a lot stronger. Eventually, even Eve will realize that even if she grew stronger, I'll always be able to surpass her thanks to my limitation, thanks to me not having any limits like the stick figures. She was able to do it through hard work, yet I did that myself, but I'm still actually stronger. Eventually, I'll be able to reach the same power as the creator himself. Eventually, I'll be so strong that only the creator can even give me a challenge, or even the slightest bit of challenge. Yes, I'll practically become one of the strongest beings in the stick world, and eventually I'll go back to my world, which my magic is incredibly strong and powerful still. But I'll continue just to train and continue to enjoy my life. Eventually, Eve will decide to actually also join me, eventually growing to have her own humanoid form, which she actually enjoys time spending with me. Eventually, she will actually grow feelings for me. Not because I'm only part of her brother, but also because I'm actually a nice guy. No one who always pushes her around or thinks that she's crazy or something. I just accept her because she is, and since she's nice to me, she continues to actually enjoy my company. Eventually, after I became 35, we'll actually get married and became a wife and a husband. She'll be pretty happy about our marriage, and eventually multiple things in the stick world will still go as the original. Of course, the Balthazar who's alive will be surprised that his other self who died, actually decided to have a reincarnation, which is pretty impressive. Balthazar will test my power, and he will realize that I also have his future side, yet I can control it a lot better. I also knew some of the future events, but I decided not to spoil them around, nor see them too much, because I don't want to ruin a future that is supposed to happen. And this future is good, and I don't want to actually intervene with it. Eventually, many years later, I'll be 45, and my wife will also would have grown in years. Of course, she will not age, nor myself, since I am able to use my magic to practically contain my appearance as I want to. So I'll still look like 25 years old. Eventually, after many years would have passed, I actually became a lot older. Eventually reaching my hundreds, yet I still look like 25 thanks to my magic. Me and my wife will continue to live with our lives and eventually spend our time together. With me being the strongest, I would literally be as strong as an Overseer or even more powerful. Of course, the Overseers will be impressed by my power. Eventually, even the creator himself actually asked me if I want to become an Overseer, and I actually would accept the deal, since I can become a lot stronger yet help the other Overseers to grow even stronger. My power, my attack and defense are around the millions, and that is one of the highest, even surpassing the creator himself, which literally makes me a superior Overseer who can actually even watch over the creator himself as well. And since I'm from the creator's dimension, means that I can actually connect with him anytime I want, and I don't need to actually use his permission to teleport to him, which practically allows me to actually access my own limitations. Of course, Evie will also have her own power. Of course, she's stronger than multiple of the other Overseers, but her power only ranges to a 9,000s. Yet she's a lot stronger, she's nothing comparable to my power due to me still being the strongest. Since I do have the spirit of Balthazar in me, who's the first ever magician and one of the first able to adapt to a power of magic, which makes me natural to it thanks to my body. Since I don't have the same limitation as stick figures, since I can constantly increase my power and not worry about it, since my body can handle it as I continue to train with it more. Eventually, many years would have passed, and me and Eve would have a child. I decided to name him after my master, Balthazar, and Eve will be pretty happy about it. So he'll be named Junior, since Balthazar in this universe is alive, his other part. Eventually, of course, Junior would have grown to be a powerful magician. Eventually, he'll meet with Zuriel, who was previously the one of the most evilest beings. Zuriel and Junior will most likely have a pretty good relationship with one another, seemingly as they're incredibly powerful. Of course, both of them were able to grow as friends and eventually go to one of the most powerful magicians in Stick World, with me being the Overseer and my wife also being one thanks to her training. We will most likely watch over the Stick World with Justice and Dave, as they will most likely get together after some time. They love each other, I just will push a little bit more so they can get married, and they would have been. Dave will also would have granted the overseer's ability thanks to me able to practically create it, thanks to me able to evolve past my limitations. And with this, I will become the strongest overseer to ever exist, even stronger than the creator himself. The creator, of course, will always keep an eye on the stick world alongside myself. I can, of course, go into the world since I'm reincarnation. I can sense what happens in the stick world. Of course, I'll also train Mike with Balthazar so he can become more stronger, knowing that he is sometimes lazy. So I would just push him around and tell him to train, alongside Loaf and his father, which are overseers as well, but they still need practice with their own ability due to me still being superior and comparable to them. But guys, this is the end of this video. See you guys in the next one. Sayonara, my Z fans. Bye.